As I mentioned, my name is Frank St. Jacques. I'm an associate with Ackerman LLP. I'm joined by several members of the project team, including Lauren George. We'll start our presentation with a very brief introduction from the applicant and owner of the site, Jerry Finkelstein.
No, sorry, Frank. I was just going, so essentially, in lieu of Jerry Finkelstein being here, just in order of, in the interest of time, the Finkelstein family, again, has been in the neighborhood for over 100 years and is excited to be bringing this improved use at this location that you're about to see.
Great, thanks. So I'll proceed with the presentation. Thanks, Lauren. So we're here to present an application for a zoning map amendment to change an existing C44A zoning district to a C44D zoning district and a zoning text amendment to establish the mandatory inclusionary housing program, or MIH, within the rezoning area. The purpose of these two actions is to facilitate the redevelopment of 3002 Newtown Avenue, which is located between 31st Street and 30th Street. As you can see on this area map that's on the screen, the surrounding area is a mix of residential, commercial, mixed residential and commercial, and community facility or institutional uses with some industrial uses. The built context is also varied with both lower and higher density multifamily and commercial buildings surrounding the site. The area is well served by public transportation, including the 30th Avenue NW subway station, just adjacent to the, or just a block south of the site, at the intersection of 30th Avenue and 31st Street, and the Q18 and Q102 bus routes along 30th Avenue, one block south of the site. These photographs show the site's current conditions. Due to the nature of the Max Finkelstein Incorporated tire business, this corner is not as pedestrian friendly as the surrounding blocks that have more active local retail uses. The site is outlined in red here on this slide and is approximately 15,556 square feet. The site has frontage on 30th Street, Newtown Avenue, and 31st Street. 31st Street is a two-way wide street and commercial thoroughfare through Astoria with the elevated NW subway line running above it. The proposed rezoning is shown on the zoning change map, replacing the current C44A with a C44D district along Newtown Avenue between 31st Street and 30th Street. So you can see on the left the current zoning with the proposed rezoning area outlined, and on the right the proposed rezoning replacing that C44A with a C44D. The 2010 Astoria rezoning mapped the C44A on portions of 4 blocks facing Newtown Avenue between 30th and 32nd Street. The inclusionary housing designated area was also mapped to encourage the development of new market rate and affordable housing at this transit hub with an FAR bonus for providing inclusionary housing. However, over the past 10 years, no new buildings have been developed within the C44A that utilize the voluntary inclusionary housing program. The proposed rezoning would facilitate the development of an 11-story building with 104 apartments, including 26 permanently income-restricted units under the MIH program, and ground floor commercial and community facility uses. We note that the community facility space was designed for the Astoria Performing Arts Center, or APAC, as a tenant. However, APAC's needs changed due to the pandemic, and they decided to move to an existing space that became available in Long Island City. I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of feedback. Is it possible to make one more request to everyone?
Please mute. Everyone, please mute. It would be great.
You have the power to mute people manually. Could you please mute the people who are?
I am muting people manually, but we have 90 guests. I'm going through during the entire presentation, but we need cooperation from the attendants.
It looks like Victor is the person who's not muted, FYI.
Yes.
Who did you say?
Victor and Rosemary, look like the people who are making the noise.
Thank you. I've muted 4 people so far. I'll get those 2 additional. Please, everybody, help us to help you. This is a good meeting. It's very important. Please remain muted. We need your help. There are a lot of attendees.
Thanks, everyone. The applicant has continued to explore beneficial community facility uses for the space. And just this week, thanks to feedback from Community Board 1 at the Land Use Committee meeting, the applicant has had preliminary conversations with an exciting potential nonprofit tenant that provides support and affordable space for local independent theaters and performing artists to preserve the cultural life of New York City. The applicant intends to incorporate several sustainability measures into the development that will improve efficiency and reduce building emissions. This site plan shows that the location on the end of the block on two corners allows full lot coverage. Height is concentrated at 31st Street and steps down toward 30th Street. The 31st Street frontage and eastern portion of Newtown Avenue will be occupied by local retail uses. So this portion of the site here. The residential lobby and a recreation room are midway between 31st and 30th Streets on Newtown Avenue. And the community facility portion is at the corner of Newtown Avenue and 30th Street. A large bicycle parking room and the ramp to the cellar parking are on 31st Street. Excuse me, on 30th Street. Residential floors will all have double loaded corridors and a mix of unit sizes. This elevation drawing shows the Newtown Avenue facade that the height is concentrated at 31st Street, which is a wide street with elevated subway tracks. Then the building steps down to a height of 9 stories and then 6 stories on the western portion of the site. This illustrative rendering shows the building in the context of the surrounding neighborhood. You can see the elevated subway line and station along 31st Street and some of the precedent for height in the area. And this chart shows the unit breakdown and income limits for the 26 permanently income restricted units required under mandatory inclusionary housing. The applicant has selected option 1 for the MIH, which requires a weighted average AMI of 60% for 25% of the residential floor area, again, resulting in 26 permanently income restricted units. And the proposed development provides a good mix of unit types with 30 studios, that's 8 of which would be MIH units, 31 bedrooms, 7 of which would be MIH units, 24 2 bedrooms, 6 of which would be MIH units, 23 bedrooms, and 5 of which would be MIH units. These renderings also show that the building steps down from 31st Street frontage to the 30th Street frontage, and the ground floor will be activated with new commercial and community facility use, improving the pedestrian experience along 31st Street, Newtown Avenue, and 30th Street. And then finally, this last slide shows that looking southwest, you can see the active ground floor and the building form, which incorporates different facade materials and glazing to break up the massing and create some visual interest for this proposed new building. That concludes our presentation. I know we went through a lot of that quickly, but myself and the applicant team are happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much. I'll ask first Elizabeth Arion if the committee had any questions.
No, this is a new argument. It's safer for them in school. When they're out of school.
Elizabeth?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to summarize the issues that the committee spoke about with the applicant during the 2 meetings that we had. We first met in July and then again in January after it was after the applications were certified. During the review, the committee talked about on a number of topics. It was the need for family-sized units and more affordable rentals, that is within the option 1 category of MIH. There were discussions about the height of the building and the neighborhood context itself, what the future of the tire business would be doing, what would be happening there at the site on the ground floor. We talked about the community facility, the new user of the community facility, which was a theater, but I guess the applicant can speak to that directly, what's happening, bring us up to date on that. Since the original APAC decided to lease elsewhere. We talked about, let's see, how the parking garage was going to be operated, whether or not there would be electrical charging stations there, and accommodations for deliveries and the roof gardens, and whether or not the applicant or the owner of the building could help lessen the impact of new residents in the area on Athens Square Park, which is just up the block. Since the time of the January 4th meeting, we've had, which was a virtual meeting, and so as members of the public were able to listen in. The district office received 3 emails concerning the project. One was in support, enumerating the community benefits and the environmental benefits of the proposal. And 2 were in opposition to the proposal, one because of additional traffic with the parking that was being proposed, and the other, I suppose, just, let's see, it would have a negative impact. It was the height, the size of the building. It was a negative impact on the visual aesthetics of the neighborhood. At that point, at the January 4th meeting that of the committee, the committee voted, it was a 6-2, I believe. A motion was made to approve, recommendation to approve the project. Let's see, to establish the project area under option 1, MIH program. There were no conditions that were proposed. There were no stipulations. It was a straight up approval of the project that was a recommendation. So I suppose at this point we can open it up to questions from the community board.
Okay, does any board member have a question about the project?
How many parking is going to be over there?
I'm sorry, George, speak up, please.
How many parking spots are going to be over there?
How many parking spots?
Yes, so the 30 parking spaces will be provided in an attended cellar parking garage.
Okay, George?
That's it?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Do we have any plan to control the traffic? Already is the overcrowded, the traffic. What is the plan for that? Are you extending the road, or how are we gonna do that to improve the parking situation or the traffic on the 31st or the Newton Avenue?
So I'll start by saying this site is highly transit oriented. It's within a block of the subway station. There's also great bus service there. In order to put this project, or to move this project forward, we had to do a full environmental assessment statement, which determined that it would not negatively impact traffic or parking in the area. We believe that the parking provided will be sufficient. It's what's required by zoning, and aren't anticipating any issues with traffic based on the project.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Any
I
other
have a
board
question
member have a
about the
question?
auditorium.
Who is that, please?
Can I be heard?
Dan Aliberti
It
is
is
speaking.
Dan
Everybody
Aliberti.
else, please mute. Dan Aliberti is speaking to the chair.
Go ahead, Dan.
Hello. Thank you. Yeah, I have a question about the auditorium. Since one person or one group has already backed out of leasing it, what if the current proposed lessee backs out of leasing it. Do you have any plans to use that space for something other than an auditorium? How crucial is leasing of that auditorium to the project?
So the project was designed with this performing arts theater space in mind. The goal is to replace it with another similar user, so to essentially be able to use that same building design. If that's not the case, the applicant is committed to finding another community facility use that would provide a benefit to the community. Examples of these include a medical office, a daycare, or a nonprofit office. So in addition to the ground floor retail, there is a commitment to provide, it's approximately 2,000 square feet of above grade and an additional 2,500 or so square feet below grade that would be dedicated to another community facility user if they can't find a performing arts tenant for the theater space.
Now, when you say medical offices, does that include clinics of all sorts? Yes. Medical office is a pretty broad definition these days, but I think the idea is to find a medical office that would be complementary to the ground floor, the active ground floor retail uses. So, really the tenant pool would be smaller than the entire range of medical offices.
I would also,
but again, Laura.
Sorry, I just wanted to add that it's the property owner's interest to find a community facility user that is preferably a nonprofit or some beneficial community use, like I think more of an educational daycare facility or nonprofit cultural institution is what they're going for. Again, it's part of the family's commitment to provide a benefit at the site. So that's something that they will be working on ongoing, but there was a very promising early conversation with a nonprofit called Indie Space that they'll continue to pursue.
Can I say something? It's Mackenzie. So I'm on the board of the space that was originally in talks with Finkelstein for the theater space. And I just want to say that we did perceive a very, very difficult negotiation with the Finkelsteins and ultimately could not budge them from above market rate. And so we were very quickly able to find a cheaper home, especially now during COVID. So I would just say that, I am but one person, but my perception from being on the board of that nonprofit was not positive. And also I would encourage whatever we could do to sort of, whatever we can do to nudge the price down or encourage the pricing, if it is going to be for a nonprofit, to be less than market rate or free.
Can I just speak on that? My name's Jake Mintel.
No, excuse me, not right now, please. Okay.
Hello.
Is it duly noted, Mackenzie? Thank you for sharing that.
Madam Chair, may we respond to that?
Yes, you may. Yes, you may.
And actually, the gentleman that just started to speak up, Jacob Bentel, is one of the site owners who is directly involved in those negotiations. I think he's probably best suited to respond to that, if he may.
Okay, Jacob, go ahead.
Yeah, I would just say politely, that's not how it happened. We had a signed LOI, which is a letter of intent with the theater. We came to an agreement. APAC went through a leadership change with their performing arts. So, COVID happened, right? I think APAC made the best decision for themselves. They had to find a space that was readily available. So, I was in charge of that. There was no negotiations or discussions of any rent negotiations after we signed our letter of intent. So, it was in our best interest. Again, our family's been here for 120 years. We want to bring a theater or something to benefit the community to the property. So that's the first.
Hi.
I
have a question. This is Richard.
Just a minute, please.
Okay.
Madam Chair, there's a hand up, 718-278.
That is not a board member.
That's not a board member?
I don't think so. Or you haven't assigned that number to anybody.
That's me, but I don't know how to put the hand back down again.
Oh.
Okay, Dan. I'm going to take your name now. Thank you for letting me know that.
Okay, Richard, go ahead, please.
Yeah, just a quick question. Could you go over the surrounding neighborhood, the building heights and densities? I know that this structure was designed as a step down, basically, the higher portion on 31st Street going down on 30th Street to a lesser height. And how does that fit within context of the neighboring buildings?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I think, most significantly, the building sort of catty corner from the proposed development site, 3119 Newtown Avenue, is a 120-foot, 10-story building. So just one floor lower than the proposed development. That's just across 31st Street. As you mentioned, and we mentioned several times in the presentation, the building steps down from that 11-story height at 31st Street, moving westward, dropping down to 6 stories. The building immediately north of the site is 70 feet tall. That's at 3015 Newtown Avenue. That's, again, a 70-foot, 6-story building. Northwest of the site is a 77-foot, 7-story building at 2680 30th Street. And just west of 28th Street on the north side of Newtown is 2525 Newtown Avenue. That's a 104-foot, 9-story building. Further to the north is the Hannock building. That's a few blocks north. That's a 15-story, 136-foot building. So there is precedent for height. It's a, the land use rationale here is really locating potential development at a transit-oriented site along a wide street, 31st Street. There is the transit infrastructure, the elevated rail there that lends support for concentrating the height on that portion of the lot. The design is intended to concentrate height along 31st Street and then drop down to be more consistent with some of the adjacent multifamily buildings that are closer in height to that 6-story portion. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but I'll stop there.
Thank you.
All right. I need to disclose that I cannot vote for this land use thing proposal, since it's going to the city council. I work for someone who sits at the land use committee, but I do have a question.
Go ahead, Ivak.
Yeah, thank you. On the retail area, what is the square footage you're thinking for that? Because sorry if I missed it in your presentation. And what type of retail are you thinking on doing reach out with the when you open for lease?
Sure. So it's at about 8,400 square feet total of retail. The idea is that it would likely be divided into smaller retail spaces or commercial spaces, similar to a lot of the context you see further to the south along 31st Street. There's a lot of neighborhood type uses. Food and beverage is a really popular use, eating and drinking type establishments along 31st Street. So the idea is sort of local serving retail, breaking up that 8,400 square feet into smaller spaces.
Thank you. Does any other board member have a question?
Madam Chair, Antonella Di Severio has her hand raised.
Okay, great.
Antonella?
Thanks. I have 2 questions. How many people do you expect to occupy this building? And also, I'm more interested in the not so positive parts of the impact statements, i.e. on sewer, the load on the subway, which is already during non-COVID times, like a sardine can, if you're going into Manhattan. Please go into a little bit on that environmental impact statement or study. Thanks.
Sure. So the environmental assessment statement found that there would be no negative impact with respect to infrastructure or transportation. I'm happy to get more into detail there, but the overall determination was that there would be no significant adverse impact related to with respect to any of the areas of analyses, but in particular the subway or the public transportation or infrastructure that you're asking about.
Were there any negative impacts on that environmental study?
No. So this was an environmental assessment statement. It was determined that there's no significant adverse impacts. Were there to be any adverse impacts, we would have had to do a much larger, more comprehensive environmental impact statement. But because of the size of this project and the nature of the development, it was determined that there, based on the analysis that were performed, that there'd be no negative impacts.
How many people are going to occupy the building?
I don't know that number offhand. It's 104 units. I can quickly look that up if you hang on a moment, or I can get back to it when I'm answering another question.
Any other board member have a question?
Andy, I have a quick question.
Andy.
Two quick questions. One is just to confirm that, like many other buildings, this is only a rental building and none of the units will be for sale. And given that's likely the answer is yes, what made you decide on 11 stories in this area? Was it all just financial feasibility? Was there any other consideration?
So, I mean, obviously financial feasibility is a huge part of development. What we did was we worked with the Department of City Planning on determining a zoning district that would be appropriate for this part of town and this site with the conditions presented here. Again, a wide street with the elevated train, so the surrounding context, its adjacency to transit, and the fact that, you know, in the last 10 years, there hasn't really been any of the type of development that the city was hoping to promote with the 2010 Astoria rezoning, at least for this for the zoning district that was established back in 2010. So really, it was working with the city and with the applicant to meet that rationale. The building, I'll note, is it's 11 stories on one portion, and that 11-story building the 11-story portion of the building is at 31st Street near the elevated train. One other thing this project does is require mandatory inclusionary housing. So 26 of the units will be permanently income restricted. And that's, again, part of city policy is allowing more density and height in transit-oriented sites. These will be permanently income restricted units that are, created without any city subsidy. So this is all private development money that will result in the creation of 25% of the residential floor area that's 26 units at a weighted average of 60% AMI.
Wasn't that just a little contradictory though? You mentioned that you wanted to look at the surrounding areas and the height was chosen based on the surrounding area, but you also said that there were no other buildings within the surrounding community in Astoria that met the 2010 zoning changes. So,
so I think I based on what you're saying, let me say that again. There's an 11-story portion of the building. The other, it steps down to 6 stories. The context surrounding this site supports this building. There are a number of multifamily buildings ranging in size from 7 stories to 10 stories across the street. The way the building is designed, it's such that the height is concentrated along 31st Street, and then it steps down to meet the surrounding context that's a bit lower towards the west. There's some additional height located, and we did this in accommodation to the surrounding context to show that to concentrate the height along 31st Street such that it's more consistent with the surrounding context.
That answer your question, Andy?
I guess that's an answer. Thanks.
Any other board member have a question? Any members of the public want to
No,
make?
I'm sorry, Marie. I think there's people in the chat. That's why I was waiting my turn. I don't know if other people want to, or were they just putting their names in for attendance? I'm not really sure if they wanted to speak or if they were.
No.
Okay.
Do you want to speak, Abby, please?
Yes, please. Yeah. So, I mean, this was just rezoned, right, in 2010. And it was upzoned at that point, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so now you're coming back to us with like another upzoning as well. And you're only going to be providing the bare minimum in terms of the mandatory inclusionary housing that's supposed to be built.
So we are providing the required mandatory inclusionary housing set aside under the lowest level of affordability, under option 1. So that's 60%.
Well, there is a lower level, but you're doing option 1. There are other levels. There is the deeply affordable option as well, but you're doing option 1.
You are correct.
Okay. So I guess and there's no one secured for the community facility?
At this point, the applicant is in discussion with another user for the community facility portion.
Okay, but you're not necessarily bound to put in a community facility if you get approved?
The intention is to use that space for a community facility.
Okay, but you're not bound by it, right?
No.
Okay, and then also the zoning, it's right now the 31st Street side is for 11 stories. But actually, what can you build under this zoning that you're requesting? How high can you actually go?
The proposed zoning district allows a 14-story building. It's not a feasible building at this site to go to 14 stories, which is why the proposed building will be 11 stories at 31st Street, dropping down to 6 stories.
Why isn't it feasible at 14 stories?
Just the constructibility of a 14-story building, a tower on the site. It's a much more efficient building to use so it's a corner lot that has essentially 2 corner lots. So a larger floor plate with less height is a much more feasible building versus a tower. It's also just it's not again consistent with the surrounding context.
Okay, but again,
so we maxed out the floor area with the lower building.
Okay, but if you get the rezoning, whoever develops this property is not bound by the plans that you're submitting today.
Well, the applicant is developing the building, and again, it's a lower building because we're maxing out the floor area because of there's not a yard requirement on this corner site.
Well, we don't know for sure if the applicant is going to develop it.
Could I add something? Could I add something? This is Steve Sinacori. I'm the co-counsel on the project.
Mm-hmm.
Just so to give you some background, the Finkelstein family has been at this location for 120 years. It's their intention to develop the building, and they're very happy to provide the community board with a letter that they'll maintain the envelope of the building that is being shown. As far as the community facility space, we've spoken with the committee, and we're very happy to come back to the committee as we work with the tenant who's who'll be the final tenant to rent that. But we're having a very good conversation with a not-for-profit who helps find affordable space for performing arts, not-for-profits, and theaters. So we're very happy to come back and report to the committee post this meeting, and we're very happy to provide the committee with a letter that will maintain the envelope that we're proposing. Furthermore, we use up all of our FAR in the current configuration. So at the end of the day, it's not possible to really go up any further, and it doesn't work from an architectural point of view, given the very, very odd shape of the lot and its shallow depths. So we can commit to those items, and we're happy to provide the board with a letter tomorrow morning to that effect.
I have just one more question too. You had mentioned that you're not getting any city subsidies. Are you getting any state subsidies or tax breaks?
We will not be getting any subsidies from the city of New York. We would apply under the Affordable New York program for a tax abatement in conjunction with the affordable housing that we're providing. But that is not considered a subsidy. The city doesn't have any subsidies. So these units are privately financed, and just 10% of the units, just for your information, 10% will be at 40% of the area median income. So you have 25%, 15% will be at an average of 60, and 10% at an average of 40. So this is very low, low affordable units. I just wanted to clarify that.
So the tax abatement is for 20 years or 30 years?
I believe it's for 30 years. But the units are permanently affordable. So even if the tax abatement expires, the units will remain permanently affordable pursuant to a regulatory agreement that's recorded against the property in perpetuity.
Thank you. Are there any members of the public wish to speak for or against this project? Yeah, I see there's a lot of comments in the chat.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
May I ask this is Elizabeth Arian. May I ask the applicant to speak to comments that are coming up in the chat regarding the income levels and the rentals that they've been asking about?
Yes, we can. I was going to see if anybody would want to speak rather than.
Speak?
Yes, please introduce yourself, please.
Hello, my name is Jade Oliver. I've been an historian for about 20 years. I actually have questions about, I don't have any questions actually. For right now, I'd like to say that I live off of Astoria Boulevard and have for a while now. A few years ago, like 10 years ago, it was rezoned. And since then, there have been a lot of very high buildings built here. Half of them, maybe more than half, are still empty. Nobody's living there. There was a building down the street that was built, and I know there's one apartment that's full. So with all of the empty apartments in Astoria, I don't really see why we need a 11-story building around a bunch of smaller buildings. In addition to that, a lot of the affordable housing that's going around right now is not affordable housing. They're tiny, tiny studios that are just absolutely ridiculous in price. They're not affordable housing. They're not affordable. And right now, there's so many empty places in Astoria. As a business, I'm a business owner. I can't afford a retail space right now. Why do we need more retail spaces that people can't afford? And I just don't understand why we're talking about building an 11-story building in Astoria. I've watched this neighborhood go from a local family, neighborhood, and then now there's all these different people coming in trying to change our neighborhood, which is fine. Change is fine. But when we're having apartments that are empty and retail spaces that we can't even afford, as a small business owner, we can't afford the retail spaces. So I'm in and built an 11-story building that we can't afford as neighbors. But you're going to bring people in from Manhattan and Brooklyn when we are trying to find affordable places to live and work within the Astoria community. I don't understand how that benefits the community, how this benefits the community in any way.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Any other member of the public wish to speak?
Madam Chair, somebody named Jeremy has their hand up.
Hey, Jeremy.
Hi, thank you. I'd like to comment in full support.
Okay, can you just introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, sorry. So my name's Jeremy. I live, I guess, on the border of Long Island City and Dutch Kills in the district. And I want to comment in full support of the application to rezone 3002 Newton Avenue. I think the area definitely needs more housing, and this is a great place to build it. We need, climate change is sort of an existential threat, to humanity. We need to do everything we can to get people out of cars. And that means building dense housing near transit. And, I know the vacancy rate is higher now, but this building won't be completed for another couple of years. at which point the vacancy rate will probably be lower. And keeping the vacancy rate higher will put more pressure on landlords. You know, as a renter, every new apartment building I see going up, that means fewer people competing for my apartment. Now that's the way we can build ourselves out of this housing crisis. More apartments will mean lower rent. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I don't know how to do the raise hand feature. It's not available to me, but can I say?
Okay, can you just please introduce yourself?
Sure, my name is Julia Foreman. I am a Dutch Kills resident. I have a question. I know generally this is just for comments. First, I do want to co-sign everything that Jade and Evie said. I think that they both spoke very much to what I think people in the comments and most people in the community are feeling. One thing I did want to ask is, when the presentation was made, there were multiple times where the 11-story building was described as within the character of the neighborhood. And I would love if the presenters could elaborate on how they believe that is the situation, because as far as I can tell, none of the surrounding buildings are anywhere near 11 stories. So what do you mean by it fits in with the character of the neighborhood, when generally in that area, I think 6 stories is the maximum height?
Thank you. Frank, would you like to answer that?
I will. I'm just going to share my screen again.
Thank you.
So I'll note that, you know, that just while I'm trying to figure out how to do this, sorry, one sec.
Madam Chair, after this question, someone named Alex has their hand up after this question.
And I don't know how to raise my hand. I'm sorry.
Great. So I'll just note that you know, as of right, in the C44A zoning district, so absent the rezoning, there could be an 8-story building built here or within the C44A today. And as I mentioned, in the last 10 years, since the 2010 Astoria rezoning established the current C44A zoning district and an inclusionary housing designated area. Over this past 10 years, no one's taken advantage of that C44A zoning district, which was established to promote development at the site because of its transit-oriented nature. The C44A and inclusionary housing designated area, the voluntary inclusionary housing program, was established here to promote development with an affordable housing component. And that just hasn't happened over the last 10 years. So what this rezoning seeks to do is increase the density to the C44D to allow a development that is, as we've mentioned, would be 11 stories.
Pardon me, please, ladies and gentlemen, mute so everybody can hear the presentation. Please, everybody mute. There are 120 people on this meeting. Please mute. So I know we've said it, but 11 stories at this 31st Street frontage. This is consistent with the 10-story building directly across the street, and then the context of the surrounding neighborhood, which, so as this building, sorry, one sec, steps down to 9 stories and then 6 stories moving west, is consistent with the surrounding 7-story buildings, multifamily buildings adjacent to the site. But really the idea here is to concentrate new development on this wide street near transit, and again with a step down design such that the bulk is concentrated along 31st Street, the wide street, and then steps down to 9 and then to 6 stories, consistent with the surrounding context. I'll just pull up the elevation quickly so you can see what that looks like. This is facing south from Newtown, that elevation. And you can see that the building is, again, concentrated, with the height concentrated along 31st Street. So that's really the context, you know, both the historical context and the
the built context that I'm referring to or have referred to in the presentation. As you can see that there's some other examples of height that we discussed early in the presentation, but that's what I was referring to with respect to context. So let me just pull this back down.
May I ask a follow-up, Marie?
Go ahead, Abby.
So if you were to build as of right, would you get the 30-year tax abatement?
So that's I presumably if there was an as of right development, the owner would actually the owner would have to provide voluntary inclusionary housing and then also apply for the Affordable New York program or 421A for that tax abatement.
They could do that even if they built as of right with the zoning that's already there.
I'm sorry, I just didn't hear you.
Let me just, can I clarify that, Steve Sinacori? They would be able to probably avail themselves of a tax abatement, but under that, there would be no mandatory inclusionary housing. So the actual rents would be significantly higher because the 421A tax abatement allows some of the rents to go higher. So because you have mandatory inclusionary housing and when you avail yourself of the tax abatement, you're locked into the 40% AMI and the 60% AMI, which is the 40% AMI, in fact, is the lowest AMI that the mandatory inclusionary housing program covers. So the answer is that with the rezoned or proposed development, you get lower, much lower affordability than you would under an as of right development. I just wanted to clarify that. And as far as the units, there's a healthy number of units that include 1s, 2s, and 3s, as well as some studios. So it covers family-sized units as well.
And just to follow up, there, you know, a 100% market rate building could be built as of right today.
I have a question.
Madam Chair?
No, just a moment, please.
Madam Chair, you have Alex
Alex,
first and Jennifer
Alex has
second.
his hand up. Alex?
Yes, hi. Hi, how are you? I don't know, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, hi. My name is Alexandra Sandra. I'm born and raised in Astoria. I don't have a question. I appreciate the time I'm given to speak. I agree with Jade. I don't believe this structure belongs in Astoria. I don't know if I don't have a say. I'm not in the community. It's my first time attending, but I just think there is no thing that could benefit the community. Just because we want to get rid of cars doesn't mean we have to put up more buildings. Cars and bikes can share the road. It's just a monstrosity that's not needed. Like I said, it's not the Astoria I grew up in. It doesn't mean that it's not going to change. Change happens. But I would urge the board to turn this down. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, Jennifer, and then Jade.
Jennifer.
My name's Jennifer Lopez. I live over in Astoria here. I'm up at Mars now. I came here from Manhattan. I lived in Manhattan for 8 years. I just moved here in September. I cannot afford Manhattan prices. I cannot afford Astoria prices for the most part. I am working just to have my apartment here in Astoria, and that is wrong. So when you talk about affordable housing, let's talk about numbers. Let's not talk about levels. Let's not talk about what the general public like myself is not going to understand. We're not going to understand what you interpret affordable housing. Affordable housing to me would be $1,000 one-bedroom apartment that's decent size, and we're not going to get that.
So why don't I share my screen again, and I'll show you the affordable housing numbers. So here is the breakdown for both the unit sizes, the rents, and what these different percentages mean. So again, the MIH option 1 requires 25% of the residential floor area to be permanently income restricted at a weighted average of 60% AMI with 10% at 40% AMI. What this means is that there are units at 40% AMI, 60% AMI, and 80% AMI. Here's a breakdown of what that means in terms of yearly income for a family of 3 under 40% AMI. That's roughly $41,000. 60% AMI is roughly $61,000, and 80% AMI is roughly $82,000. Studios for 40% AMI are just under about $567, $717 for a 1-bedroom, $854 for a 2-bedroom, and $978 for a 3-bedroom. So note that this project includes 8 studios, 7 1-bedrooms, 6 2-bedrooms, and 5 3-bedrooms for the MIH units. This is a requirement. The MIH units are required to be proportional to the non-MIH units. So that's because the project includes studios 1s, 2s, and 3s. The MIH units will proportionally include studios 1s, 2s, and 3s, and that's what makes sense for this area, where there's a mix of families and folks that just need studios or 1-bedrooms. You'll see that the rents are quite low compared to market for under the 40%, 60%, and 80% AMI that are proposed. So these are the numbers that HPD, or the Housing Preservation and Development, determines these rental levels based on the AMIs below. This is not something that the developer has come up with, but these are the numbers. I'm happy to keep this up on the screen, or pull that down. And note that there's no there's no, if this project were not to move forward, there is an as of right option here that would not come with this income restricted housing.
Thank you.
However, I don't know how many apartments that you would have in this entire building. Maybe I missed that, but I believe if I have that correctly, that's 26 apartments that would be quote unquote affordable apartments.
Yeah, so 26 units would be permanently income restricted or affordable apartments under the mandatory inclusionary housing program, option 1.
Thank you.
How many units are total in the apartment building though?
Jennifer, are you speaking?
I'll just answer that.
Yes, I was. I asked a question.
I can't
How many
hear you.
apartments
Okay.
total in the entire
There are 104
apartment building? Are you able to hear me now?
So I'm going to go ahead and answer that. There's 104 total units, 26 of which, about 25%, would be permanently income restricted under MIH. That's the requirement for the mandatory inclusionary housing program.
Maria, I have a question. With respect to the percentage of the AMI selections, how do you select the people at 40, 60, and 80? Is it a lottery? Do you physically select a certain percentage in each AMI? How does that work? Describe the process, please.
Sure. So there's the applicant is required to identify a nonprofit, what's called an MIH administrator. It's an arm's length nonprofit that would run the lottery process in order to find tenants that meet the income requirements for this building. So essentially to find MIH tenants for the MIH units. They're also required to do marketing, and 50% of those units are required to be set aside for residents of Community District 1. So 13 of the 26 units would be reserved for residents of Community District 1.
Madam Chair, Jade has her hand up.
Jay, did you have another question or you didn't
Yes,
put your hand
I
down?
do.
Okay. go ahead.
As far as the affordable housing for the family size units, or maybe they're all the same, how many square foot are those 3 bedrooms, 2 and 3 bedrooms? How many square foot are they?
Just give me one moment to find that in my notes, but there's a requirement in the zoning that for minimum unit sizes. These units are meet that requirement. Pardon me one second. Lauren, do you have
It's an
that
average,
handy?
yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
It's an average unit size of 1,200 square feet for 3 bedrooms. It goes higher than that, but that's an average.
And what is the minimum square footage for the area?
I'm not sure I know what you mean for the area.
You said there was a minimum a minimum requirement that you have to meet.
Oh, by zoning? Yeah, I don't know what that number is. I'm sorry.
I think the minimum is closer to about 900 square feet off the cuff.
For a 3 bedroom?
For a 3 bedroom. I would need to reference the zoning resolution for that. It's about 900 or 1,000 square feet from memory. But again, as Lauren mentioned, the average in this building is much higher.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Okay, thank you for the presentation and thank you for all your comments and questions to everyone. We'll take this, this will be voted on during the business section. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We really appreciate your time and consideration of this application.
Thank you. Elected officials and representatives. I'm going to call on Joe Nocerino first.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hi, folks. Happy New Year. I hope all are well and safe. Well wishes from our new borough president, Donovan Richards. We're very excited to have him on board and truly making changes, and his vision is all encompassing. So we're very happy, and I'm lucky certainly to be on board. With that, we also have an addition. I'm going to lean my time towards a woman named Kat Bresler, who has joined the team, and we're very lucky. She is the new Deputy Director of Community Boards, and her job will be, and all will hear from her at some point in the near future. And their vision and mission is to streamline all the boards, that most of what we do is similar throughout the borough of Queens. So with that, if I may, Madam Chair, Kat Bresler, you are still with us, yes?
Hi, Joe. Yeah, I am. Hi,
Hey.
Florence. Hi, Marie.
Hi, how
Madam
are you?
Chair, I appreciate everybody and seeing such an active general meeting with thoroughly discussed topics is what I like to hear on my Tuesday night at 7:30. It fills my heart with joy. For those of you who are actively participating, or maybe even just passively participating, I hope you'll consider applying to be a community board member. You may not find that you are appointed this year, but we are really interested in engaging new folks from the community in this process. I'm going to be adding a link to the chat for applications. To be noted, there is no notary requirement anymore. That's been taken away. And if you do or are seeking a council member nomination, you can go ahead and contact that council member, and that council member will have a conversation with the borough president. You do not need to be nominated by a council member. You can apply directly to the borough president's office to be nominated for an appointment to a community board position. So again, I'm going to put that in the chat. I have put my email in the chat, but it's been quite active. So I'll go ahead and do that one more time. And allow me just one more announcement from the borough president himself. Today, the city, in partnership with with the BP, is announcing a small business grant to provide resources to small businesses impacted by COVID-19 through generous $17.5 million donation from Steve Cohen. The city will partner with community-based organizations to offer $15 million worth of grants to Queens small businesses in need, up to $20,000 to support operational expenses. I'll be providing an additional link to that grant program as well in the chat. And thank you all for allowing me to speak and witness our little land use democracy in progress. And it was quite the delight. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you, Kat, and thank you for coming to CB1 Queens. Thank you, Joe. Costa Constantinides, are you here? Would you like to say a few words?
Yes, Maria, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, everyone. I just wanted to come by quickly and wish everyone a happy new year. Hope everyone is staying healthy and safe. I want to extend, I know that Judy Trevillis, I saw her on the call earlier. I wanted to reiterate my strong congratulations to Judy and to Karen Schwab on their retirement. The entire community is going to miss you both terribly in your roles at Mount Sinai Queens. You both were there and as a huge part of making Mount Sinai Queens what it is here in Queens. So I thank you, Judy, for your service at Mount Sinai. I want to thank you for your service here on the board. And Karen already knows my affection for her as well. So we're going to miss you both at Mount Sinai Queens. Really quickly, just want to run through a few things that I talked about last week. We're just got the clearance from the administration regarding the new building of truly affordable housing at the site of 31st and Broadway. It'll be 135 units of truly affordable housing at 0 AMI to 50 AMI at the top. It is going to be done through the SARA program, so it guarantees affordability in perpetuity, and it is going to be with Hannock, who is also going to have a community center on site as well as retail. So to be able to have permanently affordable housing on this site is what we really needed. We are right now sadly, we've been for a long time, the sort of epicenter of the need for affordable housing. There are over 20,000 seniors on a list in our part of Queens for truly affordable housing. Not just affordable housing, but also appropriate housing, right? Living on a 4-story walk-up may be more difficult as you age. If you don't have an elevator, you may not have ADA compliant bathrooms or apartments. You may not have the services in your building that you need. Hannock will have all the amenities needed that make it not only senior affordable, but senior appropriate housing. So to have that building is a big win, something we've talked about since 2018. I'm looking forward for it to, coming to fruition. And now that Hannock has been chosen as the, nonprofit developer, this is going to go a long way in ensuring that we have 135 units of affordable housing for seniors through the SARA program. It's permanent and permanently affordable. So there's a lot of questions tonight I know about different buildings. This building is 100% affordable at 0 to 50 AMI. Now, also wanted to bring up, I'm not sure if everyone sort of saw the governor's announcement last night. Not last night, but last week, where the governor talked about Equinor wind project, Beacon Wind Project. Now, the Beacon Wind Project is going to bring 1,200 megawatts of power, truly renewable power, wind power. You know, because Astoria has always been known for the stacks, right? I was a member of the UCCA board. We've been fighting against the stacks as long as I've been alive.
Thank you, Costa.
I love you, Mo. So, you know, this power, you know, we've been fighting against the stacks because we also have an asthma problem. It's directly, you know, connected to the stacks, right? So when we have an opportunity to have truly renewable energy, like the Beacon Wind Project that Equinor is going to bring to Astoria, 1,200 megawatts, this will actually give us the opportunity to close down fossil fuel infrastructure. And we need to do more of this. I know we just saw the Ravenswood generating plant talk about the possibility of moving to, you know, a renewable model as well, though not closing their base load turbines, which I think they need to do, you know, in addition to the peakers. So we need to ensure that we're building as much renewable energy infrastructure as possible. And I want to highlight this particular Equinor project as something that's going to be a great win for Astoria. You know, we're going to see battery storage. We're going to see the largest battery coming into our neighborhood. But what goes into those batteries is so very important. So as we see more battery storage come to Astoria, as we have projects like Equinor, you know, Beacon Wind, you know, we can still provide the city with 55% of its power, but it can be renewable energy power and not these polluting, you know, stacks that we see continuously in our community for over 100 years, giving us asthma, giving us respiratory illness. That's why we need some sort of cheer on. We actually have this opportunity. So, you know, that's really where I wanted to highlight for everyone today and sort of bring it to your attention. Not only this affordable, permanently affordable housing building that Hannock's going to do, but also this Equinor wind project, which may have flown under the radar, but is a really big deal for renewable energy for our community in the long term, and also good jobs and green jobs, more importantly, which are 21st century jobs. So again, I want to thank you all for your service to the neighborhood. This is my last year as council member. You know, only one person is going to succeed me, but I am going to share with you in the same, you know, job that we all have that's actually more important as a council member, which is citizen of the neighborhood. We are all part of what makes this community great. We're all part of what makes this community an amazing place to live. And, you know, I lived here long before I was a council member. I plan on living here long after I'm a council member. And I want to thank you all for your service to the neighborhood, and thank you for being part of this community discussion this evening.
Thank you, Costa, and thank you for bringing us this great news about the affordable housing, truly affordable housing, one of its kind in Astoria, and the renewable energy. Great news. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie.
Any other elected officials want to speak with their representatives?
Hi, this is the new Assembly member, Jessica Gonzalez Rojas from 34th.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, great. I just wanted to say a few words. First off, thank you for having me tonight. I have another colleague on for my team named Shamima Rahan, and I'll be asking that she share information in the chat. I am the newly elected member of the 34th Assembly District, which includes Jackson Heights, East Elmhurst, Corona, and Woodside. We just have a little bit of CB1, but we intend to be active and present in the meetings so that we can continue to be a pipeline of information to the community and serve the community. Our office is up and running. We're at 7535 31st Avenue in the Jackson Heights Shopping Center in East Elmhurst. We have our phone number is up and running. Our emails are up and running. Shamima just posted the information in the chat, so please take a note. I'm so excited that I got my committees. I'll be serving on the committees for children and families, the committee on cities, the committees on environmental conservation. And I just heard Costa, so Costa, I'll be following your footsteps and fighting for the environment in our community here in Queens. Also the Committee on Social Services. And I'm actually most excited about the Committee on Corporations, Authorities, and Commissions. And the reason why is because that committee oversees the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, the MTA, which I know we all know that both bus and train service is a critical issue for our community. So just a couple updates from our office. This is my third weekend, but we've hit the ground running and serving constituents and putting together events. Last night we held a healing event, given what happened at the Capitol last week, and in honor of MLK Day. We're working with the Borough President's Office, I saw Kat was on, in determining testing sites for COVID testing in the community. We're identifying sites for mobile testing so that people can have access to the test. We also we provide help and services for the hardship forms for foreclosures and evictions. And if you fill out the form, you cannot be evicted until May 1st, 2021. And we're really fighting against the evictions that are happening while also protecting small landlords. The COVID Rent Relief Extension Program, the application deadline is February 1st, and it provides eligible households with a one-time rental subsidy that will be sent directly to the household landlord. We also want to share that the Paycheck Prevention Program will resume, and folks will have until March 31st to secure a loan. I signed a letter with over 70 assembly members. Sorry, I'm getting out of cab. I just joined the Teamsters in fighting for their worker rights. So I'm traveling here. Yay! So excuse the awkward transition right now, but thank you, sir. So I signed a letter in the assembly alongside 70 other colleagues calling on the removal of Trump. I know we only have a few hours left of the president, but we wanted to send a strong statement on behalf of New York. I also other members encouraging that the food service workers were included in the phase 1B of the vaccination program. We want to make sure all our essential workers have access to the vaccine, and we believe our food service deserves. And last night I held a clean space virtual action, speaking out and beginning the healing process against what happened. And we had Congresswoman Grace Meng, who is in the thick of the fight in the Capitol, alongside a number of assembly members across.
Okay, thank you for stopping by. You're breaking up. I think you've lost your signal.
And demanding unity.
Can you hear
as
me?
we move forward.
Assembly
So
member, we cannot
thank you
hear
all
you.
so much. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And we look forward to working with you and serving the community and working alongside the community board.
Thank you and welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Anyone else, any other elected official wish to make a statement?
Yes, Ernie Brooks.
Hi.
Oh. Hello?
You could go ahead.
Go ahead, Ernie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to say a few words.
Daniel.
Carolyn Maloney, and she's back in Washington, as all the Congress people are from the New York delegation, hoping to be there tomorrow at a smooth transition of power, which will be seemingly sort of like a miracle after the events of 2 weeks ago, but we're hoping that's the way it happens. And want to send a message from Carolyn that, you know, it's been sort of a crazy 2 weeks, but she's there and really eager to get going with the Democratic Congress, a fully Democratic Congress for the first time in a long time, and probably get some more legislation passed. And one of the things is, I will post the information about it. She's going to have a telephone town hall on Thursday at 6 o'clock. And it's going to be by phone, and people can call in with questions about the relief package that was passed before Christmas. Now, a lot of this will be added to, hopefully soon, by a bigger relief package, but this is the one we have now. And this will be added. You'll have questions about how to apply for loans. I know there's going to be a lot of information already going out, and I'm glad to hear that there's one that's specifically there for Queens small business. That's great. And she's
Thank you,
also,
Roni.
just one more thing, she's also behind, I know that New York, a lot of people, since the age was lowered to 65, people have been trying to get appointments for the vaccinations, not been able to do it because there's just not enough vaccines out there. So she's joining. I know Cuomo's talked about trying to buy more vaccines on the market because we know that the old administration kind of screwed it up. So we're hoping that'll happen. And on our website, you can find out where and how, to best find vaccination, which we all do. Okay, so thank you very much. Thanks
Thank you.
for all your work, and Happy New Year.
Daniel?
Hi, Marie. Thanks so much. Thanks, Community Board 1, for having me tonight. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Daniel Bonfias. I'm a caseworker and operations coordinator for Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. Happy New Year and happy Martin Luther King Day. As you know, on January 7th, Congress certified the results of the 2020 presidential election, despite the violent disruption and threat to our democratic institutions that we all watched. We're thankful for the safety of our lawmakers and colleagues in DC and appreciate the concern from all of you who reached out to our office during this time. The Congresswoman voted to impeach Donald Trump last week and supports Representative Cori Bush's resolution to censure members of Congress who helped incite the violence. The Congresswoman hosted her first town hall of the new term on Friday, January 15th. To see the recordings of this town halls, you can visit our YouTube page at RepAOC, and I'll share the link in the. We send out notifications about upcoming events through our mailing list. If you aren't already signed up for our mailing list, I'll share those links as well to sign up in either English or Spanish. In December, the House passed the stimulus package, as Ernie just mentioned. I won't add to what he said, except to say that you can now check the status of both stimulus payments at the Get My Payment site, which I will also share. For any eligible consumers who haven't received the first stimulus or don't receive the second stimulus, the IRS has announced the addition of the recovery rebate credit to next year's tax return, which will be a section in the taxes where you can report whether or not you received the stimulus and how much you think you're still owed. And the missing funds will be included in your tax rebate that you file next year. A couple of constituent services notes. Our office continues to assist constituents with federal casework. Our staff continue to work from home, and we continue to accept cases at our website, ocasio-cortez.house.gov, or over the phone at 718-662-5970. Our office is very excited that we will be hosting the Wounded Warrior Fellowship through the Wounded Warrior Foundation, Wounded Warrior Fellowship Project. The fellowship program will fund a veteran for a 2-year period with our team. The position pays $52,000 a year with benefits and will be based out of our district offices in Queens and the Bronx. The Wounded Warrior Fellow will join our team as a caseworker and field representative, and I will share the link and eligibility to apply and for eligibility requirements in the chat. Additionally, the Small Business Development Center at LaGuardia Community College is able to assist with SBA, PPP, and EIDL applications that Ernie was just mentioning. They have advisors that speak Spanish, Mandarin, Korean, Bangla, and Hindi for those small business owners who do not speak English. And I'll share their contact information in the chat. And then some exciting news, the Congresswoman unveiled the New York 14's winner of the Congressional App Challenge called Crown Catch by Michael Batavia. And I'll share the link so anybody who is interested can review the application. It's an application designed to help users minimize their risk of catching and spreading COVID-19. Happy to take any questions if you all have them, and thank you for allowing me to give longer than normal remarks.
Thank you, Daniel, and Happy New Year to
Happy
you
New
as well. Thank you.
Marie, can I jump in for a very short? I'll try my best to keep it very, very, very short to respect the community board.
Hey, Harris, go ahead.
Thank you. So just 3 things to report out on today. Number one, we know that there is a supply issue with the vaccines. We know that the federal government needs to send in more doses, but we also need to really be honest about how badly this rollout has been managed by this administration. Today, the controller with the borough president, Gail Brewer, in Manhattan, and also with the public advocate for New York City, Jumaane Williams, came out and released our Fair Shot NYC plan. But even before this plan, a week ago, we've been talking about ways where the administration could have rolled this out better. They didn't. They didn't have 24/7 vaccine sites. The website right now to log in, it's actually 3 different systems, DOH, HNH, a whole nother website. It's 60 odd questions. Kids who are even digitally literate, they can't even help their parents get into the system for appointments. It is a mess. The city needs to do way better. And it's not just the federal government. It starts right here locally too in City Hall. So we've released this Fair Shot NYC plan. I'll drop it into the chat. The other thing I want to report out on is the Ppe Loan Program that some of the reps already spoke about. We also released a document on January 13th with a plan on how the city can do better. This time around, last time around, only 12% of our 1.1 million businesses in New York City actually even got a Ppe loan. Compare that to North Dakota, which had 24% of loans being received. A state that definitely was not hit as hard as New York City, a state that doesn't have businesses shuttered on every single street. This can be fixed right now. There's literally money now from the federal government. All we need is action and proactive outreach from the city government. That includes having SBS work with bids, work with merchant associations, do a door-to-door campaign, multilingual outreach. We need to, if we don't do this, businesses will shut down. So it's very easy for folks to talk about the federal government. There's also things we can do locally right now that would actually give real help to people in need. Last thing, we do need help from the federal government. That doesn't exclude that. They have bailed on so many of the issues that the city has faced over the years. That includes the MTA, that includes NYCHA. This community board has, one of the highest concentrations of NYCHA buildings in Queens, and the complete underfunding of the system has caused all these gas outages, leaks that we hear about so often. So we've released a federal aid plan and a request from the federal government with the new administration and new incoming Majority Leader Schumer. And I'll also drop that in the chat, which talks about several of the issues that hit close to home, including this community board. And as always, any city issues with any city agencies, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll drop my contact in the chat as well, and we're happy to assist with any constituent services. And in the interest of time, you can also DM on the chat or call me if you have any questions.
Thank you, Harris.
Thank you all.
Okay, I'd like to introduce our new Assembly member, Zoran Mondani. Are you ready to speak, Zoran?
I am.
Okay, good. Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much. I apologize, everyone, for the view. I'm currently with a couple of colleagues heading to picket line in the Bronx and Hunts Point to stand with workers, essential workers who are fighting for a $1 raise from management. My name is Zohran Kwame Mamdani. I am excited and elated to be your assembly member and to represent you and serve you in Albany and also at home in our district in Astoria. My team member, Kartika Thakkar, who works in comms and casework in our office, is also on the call and will be providing information about how to get in touch with me and with our office. I want to let you know it's been about 2 weeks in office so far. I've been assigned to the following committees of energy, aging, election law, real property tax reform, and will also be the co-chair of the Asian American Pacific Islander Task Force. And I would love to hear from all of you. We currently do not have people coming into our office physically due to the pandemic, but we would love to hear from you over the phone as well as over email. And I would love to get in touch to hear about the issues that are impacting you and the ways in which that I and my office can be of assistance. So thank you so much, and I cannot wait to work with you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I guess she will put all that information in the chat. Thank you. Jessica, are you still here?
Yes, I am. Hi, folks. I just wanted to speak very briefly about the vaccine rollout. So the city's been picking up capacity on administering the vaccine dosages. This past week, we had administered 220,000 vaccines. Previous week, we had administered 100,000. And this current week, we are on pace to administer 300,000. But without a resupply of doses from the federal government, the city will have to begin closing vaccination sites on Thursday. We've opened large-scale vaccination centers that operate 24/7, including the site at Citi Field that's expected to open next week. But again, we've been advocating for the federal government to invoke the Defense Production Act so that we can more rapidly expand capacity with this vaccine rollout. Older New Yorkers age 65 and older who make an appointment for vaccines at city-operated sites will be asked whether they have a way to get to and from their appointment. And if they require transportation, they'll be screened and directed to transportation options. The city's opening vaccination clinics in NYCHA developments, providing on-site vaccinations for residents 65 and older. This past weekend, we opened sites at NYCHA developments in Brooklyn, Staten Island, and Manhattan, with plans to move to different sites across the city in the coming weeks. So I am asking everyone to make sure to take down the phone number and website where you can make appointments, although we again don't have any more vaccines to make appointments with. 877-VAX4NYC or vaccinefinder.nyc.gov. We are expected that this will improve over the coming weeks with the change in administration in DC. And lastly, I just wanted to highlight the Consortium for Work Education initiated the Astoria Workers Project with a network of Astoria-based partners. They're working to tap into Astoria-based workers and have organized a survey to measure how COVID has impacted workers and their families in Astoria. So I'll be putting the link for that in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Any other elected officials or their representatives? Okay, thank you so much. I'm asking for a motion to adopt the December 2020 minutes.
Motion to adopt.
Seconds.
Thank you. Imagine it's unanimous. Nobody has a correction. Thank you. I will speak tonight on, very briefly, on ranked choice voting, which is a new voting system that will be for citywide offices during the primaries only and special elections. In other words, for the mayor, the BP, and the city council, the primary elections will be through ranked choice voting. So I'm going to ask Florence. I know the Donovan Richards had a seminar, if you could call it, on this. Hopefully he might have another one. Otherwise, I'm going to ask Florence to contact them, and perhaps they could do an overview, because it's something very new and very confusing, which we'll be using pretty soon, anyway, in June here during the primary. So
I'm
thank you.
happy to answer any questions or provide a link in the chat if you like, Marie.
Oh, that'd be great, Kat, if you could do that.
Sure, happy to provide the link.
Thank you. Florence, it's not making the report tonight.
Madam Chair, I think that the feedback due to the fact we're on YouTube is going to be bothersome to everybody. I was going to also speak about the ranked choice voting, which you covered.
Okay.
Am I being heard all right now?
Yes.
Is there feedback? I would like to make a quick report from Donovan Richards, a borough cabinet meeting. The DOE spoke at borough and they spoke about school admissions and the changes needed for fall 2021. Middle schools will see some changes. Applications opened on January 11th, 21 for middle schools. Over 2 years phase out of geographic priorities will occur. Academic data is posted on My Schools, which is their site for the Board of Ed. Schools which require auditions will occur virtually. Applications for January 19th, 2021 citywide for high school choices. SAT tests will occur at middle schools and had to be submitted by January 15th, which has passed. School buildings will be open January 27th, 2021 for the SAT students. That is my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Committee reports. Airport, Rosemary Poveromo.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and a very happy New Year to everyone. The 2020 updates from LaGuardia Redevelopment Group. Construction updates are more than 50% of a whole new LaGuardia is now open. The new Terminal B arrivals and departures hall and half of Terminal B West Concourse open in 2020. 70% of the new airport roads are complete and open, including the roads serving the new Terminal B. Steel for the new Terminal C arrivals and departures hall is complete. Community updates are as follows. More than $1.5 billion in contracts has been awarded to certified minority and women-owned business enterprises, largest amount awarded for any project in New York State history. More than $600 million in contracts awarded to local Queens-based businesses, since we get all of the negative aspects from airport. 5 4-year full tuition scholarship awarded to local students from East Elmhurst and Corona and Astoria. Total of 11 scholarships awarded in 2019 and 2020. Second annual Aviation STEM education program in partnership with Langston Hughes Community Library. Sustainability mini camp in partnership with Eastern Queens Alliance. More than 100 webinars are focused on providing business development and workforce development trainings and resources. Distribution of PPE to airport customers, local community residents, and businesses. COVID-19 test site at LaGuardia Terminal B Garage in partnership with New York City Health and Hospitals, open to travelers, employees, and community, including free parking. Regarding the air train to LaGuardia, the FAA published draft environmental impact statements in August 2020, 60-day public comment period, including 2 virtual public workshops and 3 virtual public hearings, went very well and was well attended. Next step is the publication of the final environmental impact statement by the FAA, and that is expected in April 2021. So goes my report, Madam Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary. Community and Economic Development, Rod Townsend.
No report at this time.
Thank you. Consumer Affairs. Andy, you'll be sitting in for Eric Boucher.
Yeah.
Gladly. Hello,
Thank
everyone. Most of you already know the drill. The liquor license application spreadsheet was sent via email by Florence on Friday. If you can please take a look. These are the entities that applied for renewal or new applications over the December. If you can note that several of them also received stipulations. We, as usual, checked the applications with the 114th precinct to make sure there were no entities that had significant negative consequences within the community, such as 911 calls and things of those nature. Being none, we are asking for approval of these applications and the stipulations that were submitted. And I ask if there are any objections.
Are there any objections? So approved, Andy. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Environmental Protection, Antonella Di Severio.
Yes, hi. January 12th, no, maybe I should wait until the person meets themselves. Okay, on January 12th, we had a presentation by the Department of DEP. They described the installation and construction of a 3rd city water tunnel. And this tunnel is actually going to alleviate some of the impact from the increased development, and will provide, it's like having a well in our area. We'll be getting that water first before it travels on to Flushing. They went over the blasting implications, the environmental impacts onto the area. They were very well organized, and at the end of the day,
Please mute. We are having a report. Please mute. Please be kind to the speaker. Thank you.
this project will be very beneficial to our area. The other thing that we talked about, we were actually still had the update on the Astoria Promenade. We're still waiting for a letter of support from one of the local partners in order to start a study with respect to the environmental impact from future storms. In the meantime, we should start construction is going to be starting on the repair of the fencing and some of the cavatures in the cement on the promenade, which is making for a very unsafe condition in the area. So we're hoping that the construction is going to start soon, hopefully within the next month. That's just my estimate based on what I'm hearing so far, but it might be a little bit after that. That's all for my report tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, Antonella. Health and Human Services, Julie Trevillas.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. So Jessica just went over the information on the vaccine finder and the phone number. She put it in the chat. So for anybody, when they do get more vaccines, it's important to, you can call the number. I actually tried it today. I did get an answer pretty quickly. I was surprised. And also today, Dr. Jay Varma, he's the Senior Public Health Advisor to the Mayor, held a town hall and answered many questions. And some of the key takeaways, and we can't stress enough, are
Dino, can you mute yourself? Can you mute them, please, Florence?
So it's critical to continue all the safety precautions. I think everybody's seeing, and it's touching everybody's lives, that there is a resurgence of the virus and the disease. And I can just tell you firsthand, my husband had it, my mother-in-law had it. Now my brother called today and he has it. So it's really everywhere. So it's so important to wear masks, wash hands, and socially distance yourselves. Now, a lot of questions came up about vaccine safety, and his recommendation was that the vaccines are well studied, they're safe, and he's advising everyone when their turn comes up to please get your vaccine. And lastly, he went over side effects, which everybody knows that they're all been posted. But lastly, he did say it's very important that if you do get the vaccine, that you still practice the safety precautions, because you still can be a carrier of the virus, even though you are vaccinated. So even if you have gotten the vaccine, the 2 doses, please make sure you're still following the safety precautions. And that really was the takeaway from the town hall. And that's my report.
Thank you, Judy. Housing, Ppe Loan.
Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. Just a note that we're going to have our next meeting in a week on the 25th at 6:30, and we're going to have a speaker from the Coalition for the Homeless, as well as speakers from the Astoria Tenant Union. So I welcome everybody to come, as we'll be talking about, issues of facing housing. So that's it for me. We'll have a more thorough report next meeting.
Thank you, Effie. Land Use and Zoning, Elizabeth Arion, Jerry Caliendo. Elizabeth? Jerry?
I'm okay. You got me?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. It wasn't connecting. It wasn't taking my command. Okay, at this point, the hearing has been closed for 3002 Newtown Avenue. And what we have to do now is have a motion on the floor for discussion concerning how the board will vote. As I had mentioned before, the committee had recommended approval. So if someone from the community board would like to issue a motion, we can begin discussion after it's passed.
I'll make a motion to approve
Could you please state your name?
Oh, Richard Kazami. I make a motion to approve based upon the letter that was issued by the committee.
Ed Faber, second.
Second.
Excuse me, what letter are you talking about?
Okay, there was a summation of what happened that you issued and sent to all committee members.
The report, I think.
The report, yes.
report.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the motion, could you repeat it again? It is a motion to approve based
upon the report issued by the Land Use Committee of Community Board 1.
Okay. Okay. And that motion has carried. Is it open to, it's open for discussion now.
Any discussion? No one?
No comments?
Okay.
No. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to ask Amy Howe. This is a roll call vote, Amy. So if you will call the names.
Yes.
All those in. Okay, you have it?
Are we ready?
Yes.
Roseanne Alejandra, sorry.
Yes.
George Alexiou,
Yes.
Daniel Alberti,
Yes.
Lauren Amore,
Yes.
Andy Agila,
No.
Ed Baber,
Yes.
Louise Bordley.
Yes.
Is Anne Bruno here? Anne?
No.
Okay. Jerry Caliendo.
Staying for cause.
Right.
He's not voting. Thank you.
Iraq
Not voting.
Shahansky.
He's not voting either for cause.
Got it. Jean Marie DeLeva.
She's absent.
Not here. Antonella Desaferio.
No.
Katie Elman.
Yes.
Elizabeth Arion.
No.
Mackenzie Farquhar.
No.
Dean Veritovic. Not here. Shahanaz Hamdi. Shahana?
No.
Okay. No. Evie Hontopoulos.
No.
Amy Howe is a yes. Helen Ho.
No.
Pauline Geleni.
Yes.
Vanessa Jones Hall. Not here. Richard Kuzami.
Vanessa
Yes.
voted no in the chat.
Oh, sorry. Didn't see that. Thank you. Richard Kuzami.
Yes.
Nancy Conopal. Nancy?
Nancy,
There
can you?
Sorry, I just unmuted. No.
Got it. Thank you. Jerry Krill.
Absent.
Hannah Lupian.
Yes.
Jeffrey Martin.
Yes.
Amin Mahedi.
Yes.
Antonio Maloney. Antonio still here?
Apparently not.
I muted the telephone people because of the noise from them. They may not be able to respond.
Should we come back to them?
I'm sorry. When did you mute them? Because Rosemary certainly wasn't muted.
I muted her when Antonella was making her report.
Okay.
The lights were on them. So if they don't respond, they're here, but they may not be able. They have to hit star. There's a number that they have to hit star something in order to respond.
Star 6 usually.
Right.
Star
So
6.
maybe you should let them know that. Okay, go ahead.
Eric Mouche, not here, right?
Right.
Stella Nicolau, also not here. Norma Nieves Blas,
Not here.
not here. Mary O'Hara,
Not here.
Dino Panagoulias,
Yes.
Juliet Payabet,
No.
Robert Piazza,
Absent.
Rosemary Poveromo. Rosemary? She's muted, right? Come back. Yone Robinson, not here. Thomas Ryan,
In for cause?
got it. Rudy Sarkezi,
Yes.
Dominic Stiller. Dominic,
Yes.
thank you. Andre Stiff,
Absent.
absent. Marie Torniali,
Yes.
Rod Thompson,
Yes.
thank you. Judy Trilivas,
Yes.
is Kathleen Warnock here?
No, she's absent today.
Mitch Waxman.
No.
So we have 19 yes, 11 no, and 3 abstention.
Motion carries. Thank you. Members of the public invited to speak now. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't finish the land use,
Yes,
the committee.
hello, I'm Ann.
Hold on.
S,
Committee
and I'd like
report.
to discuss the bike lane.
Ma'am,
Oh,
you have to stop.
no, I'm sorry, we're not there yet. I'm sorry, my mistake. Parks, Katie Elman. Katie, you here?
Sorry, briefly, there is a visioning session. Justin Green put it in the chat for Baby Queensbridge Park on January 28th at 6:30 p.m. You can register on the park's website. And I also wanted to acknowledge the service of Martha Lopez Gilpin, who was chair and then a member of the board of the Story Park Alliance, as she is stepping back and retiring from that role. So many of us have worked with her and admire the work of the organization. Just want to publicly acknowledge her service. And that is all right now.
And I second that emotion. She was wonderful and she'll be missed. Thank you, Katie. Public safety, is Tony Maloney still here?
Yes, but I'm muted.
Oh, so how am I hearing you then?
Oh, good. Okay, so I guess I was unmuted. Hi, guys. Alrighty, so first of all, happy, healthy New Year to everyone. Madam Chair, I only have a couple of short announcements. The new captain of the 114, for you that don't know, is Captain Jenkins. He's been in a couple of months. We lost our community affairs officer, Muji. His post is being taken over by the old crime prevention officer, Gabriel Tovar. Chacon is still there. So if you need to contact the 114th for anything community affairs, especially, one is still there, and crime prevention guy has moved over. That's my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Tony. Transportation, Mitch Waxman.
We had a meeting with the New York City DOT's Queensborough planner, John O'Neill. A number of issues in the neighborhood were brought up and discussed, including the race car situation on the north side of Astoria, some tweaks that need to be made to the southern end of the Crescent Street bike lane. And we also discussed Astoria Boulevard north and south and the Northern Boulevard bike lane, which lost its barriers due to snow removal. I can report that for those of you who live on Astoria Boulevard north or south between 33rd Street and 49th Street, you're going to be seeing some activity in the next year. They're going to be repainting crosswalks and doing maintenance on street lighting. And the conversation on Astoria Boulevard is going to continue.
Thank you, Mitch. Thank you. Okay, there's a lot of feedback now, Florence. Florence?
Yes, I'm here. That's not on our end, Marie. That's from one of the participants. I'm trying to figure out which one.
Yes,
it's
please
from.
do so we can mute them. Thank you. Okay, the public session. We invite members of the public to speak.
Hi. Hello, I'm Ann S. I'd like to discuss the bike lanes on Crescent Street.
Go ahead, Ann.
I am third generation owner. I'm 75 years old and I do have health issues. I'm not able to stop in front of my home in order to unload my groceries or anything that I need in order to maintain my home. Now, I'd like to know if I can't park in front of my home to just do that, then where am I supposed to put my car so I'm able to unload the things that I have to? It's not fair. I have issues and I need to be able to stop in front of my home, whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I have no garage. My house was built in the early 1900s. We were not privy then for garages, for driveways. So I'm at my wit's end now. All of a sudden I hear that there's going to be tickets issued if you are in the $175 ticket that could be issued to me if I have to stop for 5 minutes to unload my groceries or anything pertaining to what I need for my home. I mean, this is ludicrous. There's no way that this should happen to seniors. This was never thought properly. Nobody took any consideration into seniors and what they have to deal with. Most of the people on Crescent Street are seniors, and their houses were built in the early 1900s. They have no access to a driveway or a garage that they can pull in.
And have you relayed your concerns to the office?
We've wrote letters. Many of the people on Crescent Street, we wrote letters, we indicate, I want the Department of Transportation to come with us, give us a compromise, something that could be done to help us out. It's out of control for us now. And if I park in the traffic lane, what happens then? The car's going to stay behind me while I unload and walk across the bike lane to the front of my home? And what happens to the traffic that's behind me? Are they going to wait for me to unload? They're going to go in the bike lane because that's where they're going to go. And what happens to the cyclists and myself and everybody else that has to walk through there while I'm unloading my car? It's ludicrous. This should never have happened. And give us a permit, give us something so that we're not held accountable.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ann, for your comments. Thank you. Anybody else like to speak?
Madam Chair, we have 4 people with their hands up.
Alex?
Yes, hi. Thank you again. I'm going to keep this brief. This is something that I am fully agree with Ann. I own a car, but I also ride my bike. I've been using my bike all summer. It's my therapy with COVID and losing my job and being forced to close my business. Not one biker has stops at traffic lights. I am also fed up with the delivery bikes from local businesses that ride on sidewalks. They don't stop. They don't have their lights on. Something needs to be done before somebody gets hurt. I own a car and I also ride my bike. I respect the traffic laws. Bike riders need to be held accountable for traffic violations. I had it also for Crescent Street. I had to take my mother to the doctor the other day. I had to stop traffic, get out of the car, walk my mother who's had both knees replaced to get into the doctor's office. So Crescent Street is a disaster. Homeowners who are paying taxes and elderly are being discriminated against. I'm not against bike lanes, so please do not think I am. I support bike lanes, but something has to be done. They don't stop at lights. They blow stop signs. No, I will not be shushed. I have to say this because it is something that affects everybody. So what is being done by the community board to get some legislation passed so the businesses can be held accountable for their delivery bikes? We all have to get to work. We don't drive on the sidewalks. So I'd like to know what's going to be done by the community board, because this is something that affects everybody.
Well, the community board, as you know, does not make legislation.
I understand, but what can we do as a community board?
Have you written to the community board so we can get that in writing, your issues?
I will do that gladly. Where do I send it to?
2101@CB.
Can somebody put that in the chat, please?
Lawrence, can you do that, please?
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you. Gil Lopez?
2 minutes.
Hi, my name is Gil Lopez. I work for Big Reuse. We are a nonprofit organization that does environmental stuff. In Community Board 1, we're on the border of Community Board 1 and 2 between right underneath the Queensbridge. We have a community scale composting site. We've been there for 3 years now. Before that, we were in a different site under the Queensbridge for about 7 years. We process about 1.5 million pounds of food scraps in New York City. As some of you know, the composting in New York City has been canceled at the beginning of COVID due to budget cuts. The city supporters rallied, residents rallied, and got city council to fund 10% of the budget needed to continue this program through discretionary funding. That discretionary funding has stripped down the services that we offered, and we're basically just operating 4 composting sites and picking up from what are now volunteer-run food scrap drop-offs throughout the city. So this,
1 minute.
Thank you. This reduced funding has severely restricted the amount of compost that we're able to divert from landfills, which is really important because, as you know, we live in a climate crisis, which the City Council designated in June 2019. So now we're in a situation where the Parks Department is trying to evict us from their land, and they're using a capital improvement project of Baby Queensbridge Park to do so. They need to relocate their cars and equipment to service the area. We're asking to be able to present at our case at a larger land use review committee meeting to you and tell you more about this. And we're also asking the land use committee to help find a different place for parks to park their vehicles and equipment so that they do not displace this $500,000 composting site that is a very big resource for our residents. Thank you,
Gil. Can you put your information in the chat, please?
Sure thing. I'll also provide a link to an article that gives way more information than I was able to just give.
Thank you. Josephine Andolfi.
2 minutes.
Josephine? Yes.
I'm related, I live on Crescent Street, and I'm related to the bike lane. Now, I had delivery of a mattress that had to park in the bike lane to deliver their mattress. They cannot block traffic. Now, they were there about a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes to deliver this mattress. Now, this is unfair that I can't have a delivery. I almost got hit by a bike. And who do I sue if I get hit by a bike? Who's going to pay for my doctor bills? I'd like an answer for that. I mean, we're entitled to. I mean, this is very dangerous. I'm a homeowner, and I should pay all this tax. The bikes don't pay a penny. They should pay a fine or something for them that they have to pay if they have insurance, if they hit someone.
1 minute.
I'd like to know who's going to pay if I get hit.
Well, thank you, Josephine, for your comments. Thank you. Jennifer Lopez.
Hi, Jennifer Lopez again. Thank you. I'm off Mars Avenue. I am, as I said, a brand new resident here in Astoria as of September. And there are cars that go racing down Mars Boulevard, extremely loud at all hours of the day, at all hours. 3 o'clock at night, sorry, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, all the time. I've had one of these cars right next to me where people should have to wear earmuffs just to be next to these cars. What are the police doing about it? What is the community board doing to get the police to do something about it? It seems like the police are turning a blind eye to it because I've watched these cars go directly past police cars, extremely loud, revving their engines and keeping everyone awake. Lastly, I just want to let you guys know I did put in my application to become a board member. Hopefully you guys can review that. I did forget to put on my application that I'm in the United States.
1 minute.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. I don't know if I'm saying this name correctly. Niam Smythe or Smith.
2 minutes.
Hi, it's Neve, and I'm a student at Academy of American Studies, and we just all came here tonight to talk about our new building. And thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me and my peers. It's genuinely appreciated. I'm currently a sophomore at the Academy, and when I entered the school in September of 2019, I knew that the new building situation would be challenging at times, but I was willing to go because I knew that the Academy would be a great place to spend my high school days. I was also put at ease because during my freshman year, the administration told me that we would have a new building in 2021 by my junior year. So recently, when we got the news that the new building opening would be postponed to September 2022, of course, we were all very disappointed, which is why we're here to say that we're so thankful that they have recently moved up our building opening to February 2022. A new building will increase the quality of learning at the Academy. It'll give us new labs, a new gymnasium, and it'll also be able to add new courses to our catalog. Furthermore, with the circumstances surrounding the pandemic, we would all feel so much safer in our new building with new ventilation systems. We are so incredibly thankful that the building has been moved up to February 2021, and we understand that no one can control the circumstances that caused the delay. We are just asking that the community board help support our new building opening, and
30 seconds.
thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
And thank you for being here tonight. Thank you. Mario D'Antoni. Mario?
Hi, we'd like to discuss the Crescent Street bike lane as well. 2500 and 2600 block of Crescent Street is a very different animal from other parts of Crescent Street. We have many senior citizens who have health issues as well as younger people who are disabled. We feel that it was put here prematurely. We love the bicyclists as well, but it doesn't work for our blocks. We're homeowners who've been here third generation as well. And we have many senior citizens with disabilities, and we really need for the Department of Transportation and the local officials in the neighborhood to come out and reassess it. It does not work for these two blocks. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeremy Welch-Loveman.
Yeah, sorry to bother you with another comment, but it's on a different subject. I want to echo what the other individual said about these very loud cars with the aftermarket mufflers that amplify it 10 times. I realize there's probably nothing the community board could do, but I wonder if maybe the transportation committee could look into possible solutions like an automated decibel thing, like a red light camera that would try to give tickets to people who have done these what I think are aftermarket alterations to their cards. We're all stuck inside, or a lot of us are stuck inside a lot, and it is very annoying.
It's a new
Thank you.
opportunity.
Please mute, everybody, please mute the speakers.
Thank you for your comment, Jeremy.
Really, Galaxy Tab S6 has its hand raised.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, my name is Nicholas Strongas. I'm calling on behalf of the city bikes that are going to be installed on 43rd Street and 23rd Avenue. I don't know if people are aware of this, but have you seen the traffic that goes in and out of 43rd Street from every direction? Grand Central Parkway, BQE Expressway, Astoria Boulevard, 23rd Avenue, very fresh. All their tractor trailers and their box trucks coming in and out is going to cause so much traffic, and it's going to end up hurting not only the community, but especially the seniors. And I want to point something out to you if I can, real fast. This is my father right here. I hope you can see him. He's 70 years old. He has a pacemaker. He's battled 2 strokes. He's legally blind in his left eye. He cannot walk properly. What you're going to cause us to do is double park in front of our residents at all times. Now look at all the traffic on my block. I want you to see this. Look at all the tractor trailers that come in and out, speeding constantly on our block. Look at all the Amazon trucks, the delivery trucks. It's going to cause my father right here. If you can see this image, let me see if you can see this right here. I hope you can see this.
Sir, your time is up.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. Thank you. Go ahead, Tom.
Yes.
Adam Schreiber.
2 minutes.
Adam, are you here? Andoni K.
Hi, how are you?
2 minutes.
So I want to discuss today is the 31st Ave Open Streets program. The last meeting that we discussed, you guys said that DOT was going to participate in the meeting in order so they can hear our complaints for the city bikes and for open streets. But besides that, there's volunteers that open and close the street on the weekends, 8 to 8. And the problem we have here is barriers go up at 7:30 a.m. sometimes, not all the times, but the times they have been documented and sent to CB1. But the big majority of problem is the barriers stay there after 8 a.m. After 8 p.m., and they're there till 10 p.m. at night, and no one takes them down. They're quick to put them up, but no one's around to take them down at all. And that's a big safety issue right here, because there's people that are making that turn on 31st Street onto 31st Ave, and they don't see the barricades, especially at 10 o'clock at night. And then
1 minute.
hit them, and they fall down. And I saw a car run over one the other day. And it's ridiculous that no one's paying attention to this. And now they're asking for more barricades to close the street. It's supposed to be share the street, not close the entire street for two people to do whatever they want to do for a couple of hours. And then the rest of the day, it's closed for everybody. It's ridiculous. I yield my time.
Thank you for your comments. Max Nazario.
2 minutes.
Max?
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Great, thank you. So my name is Max. I'm a resident of Astoria. I just want to very quickly thank the people who've spoken on behalf of seniors and the disabled in our neighborhood about the dangerous conditions on Crescent Street. I also just want to call to attention specifically, though, to the fact that in addition to the bike lane, which personally I'm in favor of, there is also free on-street parking for the whole 2 miles of Crescent Street going all the way down that bike lane. And that's a problem. I mean, by having those 2 miles taken up by cars that are owned by private individuals rather than for a public good, like a loading zone or pedestrian space or any kind of infrastructure that benefits people who are using Crescent Street rather than an empty car, the people who are suffering because of that are those who are most vulnerable. It's the seniors, it's the disabled, and anyone who's too poor to afford a car. Anyone in an accessoride can't pull in because spaces are taken up by cars. Seniors who are unloading their groceries are forced to park in traffic because spaces are taken up by cars. And just because there is no curb space that is dedicated to loading or unloading, and cars are the reason why. And so there are just too many cars in this neighborhood. Parking is not a right in this city, and we need to be doing everything in our power to make our streets more equitable and less congested. And the way to start by doing that is by discouraging cars in our neighborhood to begin with. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve F.
Damn it.
Steve?
Hi, Steve's wife here. Sorry.
It's okay.
This is just a follow-up to the other gentleman regarding the city bikes coming up and down Ditmars and 23rd Avenue, specifically 23rd Avenue and 43rd Street, where you're looking to put it on a corner where one side is a residential building with a senior citizen that lives there that doesn't function properly, and a fire hydrant. The other side being where you have tractor trailers, where you do have box trucks that come in and out for deliveries on a daily basis that not only do take up a lot of traffic, but they also sideswipe cars on a daily basis. If they sideswipe a regular car on a daily basis, what are they going to do when the city bikes are there? Are they going to start sideswiping on the other side? Are they going to start sideswiping over the city bikes? Are people going to have to start double parking in front of the city bikes so they can get in and out and do what they have to do? Our neighborhood is predominantly 6-family homes, 12-unit buildings, big businesses that don't have anywhere to park, so their employees park on the street, and it's a constant fight. Not to mention, we're looking at a bigger fight come April 2021, when you have the big building behind Pastilli being put up, and you have both 45th and 46th Street not able to park because it's going to become a temporary construction zone, taking away every single little tiny parking spot that's left for everybody. It's a great idea that you guys have them on Ditmars and 43rd, Ditmars and Steinway, Ditmars and 36th Street, Ditmars and
30 seconds.
23rd Avenue just doesn't seem like the proper place to put it where it's a predominantly residential area. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you. Hussam El Ruby.
Hi, my name is Hussam Ruby and I'm a junior at Academy. And first off, I wanted to start off by giving my thanks to you all for taking the time to listen to me and my fellow peers. I attend the Academy of American Studies, and we are truly grateful for the set date that you guys provided us for the new building. Being that I will be a senior next year, I wanted to say that I will make sure to make the best out of the few months I would get to spend in the new building. Despite this fact, there are still many significant factors to consider when opening it up. With a new building comes many changes and adjustments in the future, and our school can use the summer to fix any minor or major issues the building may present. And this would allow any incoming students to have the best high school experience possible. The opening of the new building at this requested time will fulfill a promise that was made to the incoming class of our year and will create a better learning environment for us all. Pushing the completion of our new building will allow us to create opportunities for students and be able to allow students to express
1
themselves
minute.
in a way that they haven't been able to before. And being the first senior class to be able to graduate from this new building is something I can't even begin to express how grateful I am. I hope the new building comes out as expected and we receive enough time to enjoy it to the fullest extent. Thank you for allowing us to share our thoughts, and I look forward to the opening of our new building.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing your thoughts. Mia Giussiano.
2 minutes.
Mia?
Yes, hi, my name is Mia Giussiano, and I'm a current junior student at Academy of American Studies High School. When I entered the school as a freshman in 2018, I immediately felt welcomed and knew this was a place I would have the chance to learn and grow. Throughout my years, I have improved my skills in all fields and made incredible friends to share the highs and lows of high school. We're all here today to discuss the possible opening date for our new school building. The students and staff from Academy greatly appreciate the change of opening date to February 2022. I, for one, am glad to be able to spend even a few months in the new building and be part of the first graduating class. With the new building, there are numerous issues that need to be dealt with, and those issues take time to manage. With the new opening date, we have the opportunity to use the previous months to address those issues and ensure that the incoming students are able to have a great school. Our school will have the possibility to operate efficiently if having more time to prepare. Furthermore, the opening of a new building would inspire positive attitudes throughout the community. After this pandemic, we need all that positivity more than anything. Lastly, one of the main reasons we are requesting for the new building so soon so it doesn't get pushed off. Our school needs the funds to be able to continue this project, and if those funds are no longer provided or placed into other projects, we will have to wait longer for the new building. We appreciate the time that you have taken to speak to us today, and we hope that this building can further unite the Academy students and staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Mia. Ariana?
2 minutes.
My name is Ariana, and I'm currently a sophomore at Academy. I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude for how far we have come in the development of the new school, and thank you for giving our voices an opportunity to be heard this evening. Tonight, I'm here on behalf of my school community requesting your support to keep our new building project on track. Along with many other families, part of my decision in attending Academy was the new building, which allows for enthusiasm within the student body and the LIC community after the pandemic, upholding the promise we have made to our incoming students, immediate use of the art, music, and technology rooms that we have all eagerly awaited, a library that we do not have to share with another high school. Any support in keeping the project on track and completed by February 2022 would be greatly appreciated. Thank you again for your time and consideration.
Marie, can I say something? It's Antonella.
Yes, Antonella.
Thank you. I just wanted to say the Academy of American Studies is a great school. What happens now is the kids are splitting their time. They're going from the smaller building to the old LIC building during the day. And that's not very safe when they're crossing to switch from class to class during the day. So if there's any way our community could get them into that building sooner, because now there's a lot of development in that area. It's just going to be more traffic with more people, especially with the bike lanes going down Crescent. It's or at 28th Street. That's not on Crescent. It's on 28th Street. So if we can do anything to move that up, that would be amazing for safety's sake for the kids.
Yeah, thank you, Antonella. I think the intent is to write a support letter for that. Thank you. Antonella?
Sorry, I said thank you. I think
I didn't hear you. I thought maybe you weren't done.
No, I was. Thank you.
Carolina?
2 minutes.
Hi, I would like to start off by saying thank you for taking your time to hear us out today. I know it's a little late. It means a great deal to me, the other students from my school. My name is Carolina Dajitsky, and I'm a junior at the Academy of American Studies. Ever since I started school here as a freshman, I was able to grow not only as a student, but also as an individual in numerous ways. Specifically, the aspect of the school that always stood out to me is the many cultures the students from my school came from. I was able to grow friends from numerous backgrounds and learn more about their values, but also struggles. Before high school, I came from a middle school that lacked diversity, and I was never exposed to such rich culture and individuality. I always believed that Academy was always accepting of where students came from. It was always something that was taught throughout the school curriculum and my teachers. As a student, I learned about where people came from and the struggles that went on for many years. As an individual, I was able to expand my classroom knowledge into the real world and help others not be ignorant of one's background. Though I do not believe Academy is perfect, I do believe uneducated students still exist throughout the school and are ignorant of diversity. I strongly believe that the current building of the Academy of American Studies isn't able to completely house the culture of the students here. We don't have much freedom on what goes on our walls or in the classrooms, and sometimes I wish ourselves more. A new building would allow the students here to express themselves artistically and creatively in their own way. It would build a new opportunity for students and teachers to expand the classroom curriculum and teach more students about the values of culture. As students, a student should have more freedom on what they learn, and a new building would give them that choice. I will be the first senior class to graduate from the new building, and I am very grateful for that. But with the start of COVID-19, I lost a couple of months in the new building that would have been extremely for me and the individuals at Academy. But with your help, we are able to get the building open in February 22, which we are extremely grateful for. We would like to thank you for giving us the opportunity to grow as individuals in this new building, even just for a couple of months. A new building would help me prepare for the future as a student in college and hopefully as a person and helping others grow. Our own classroom will help grow diversity and acceptance within our school, which is needed. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Carolina. Ariba Azad.
2 minutes.
Oh, hi. I'm Ariba. I'm a sophomore at the Academy of American Studies. I want to start off by saying thank you for taking the time to listening to our concerns about the new building today. I just want to thank you for the moving up of the date because it will help the Academy with their new environment, and Academy really needs a boost in morale because of everything that's going on with the pandemic, and it will really increase the sense of community for the school. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Majola, I should say.
Hello. First off, I would like to start by thanking you guys for giving us a chance to express our thoughts. I'm currently a sophomore at Academy of American Studies, and I've experienced the sense of community the school and the faculty create each year with incoming students. So from experience, I can say that it's a great school and it prepares us for the future by teaching us how to thrive from our education. Next year, I will become a junior, arguably one of the most important years of high school. So the new building will provide me and other students with benefits to our education. For example, new classrooms, a library, new lab rooms, and even a new gymnasium, and etc. The new building will allow the school to run smoothly and provide the students with more opportunities and resources, which are essential. Having a new environment that isn't shared with another school and other students allows us to feel comfortable and motivate us to work hard. We all understand the delays of the original date. That's why we're so grateful and thankful to receive the school in February 2022. The earlier we receive the building, the faster we get comfortable in adjusting to the new surroundings. We would value the help of the community board to try and keep our project on track. Thank you for making this project possible, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Adam Schreiber.
2 minutes.
Justin Green.
Hi, I'm Justin Green. I'm the Executive Director of Big Reuse. We were previously called Build It Green and started in Astoria with the Reuse Center down by Astoria Houses, and we miss being up there. We have our compost site underneath the Queensboro Bridge. Gil spoke about it earlier, and we're being pushed off by the Parks Department. We've been there for almost a decade, and composting leaves raked at Astoria Park, giving compost back into the community for street tree care up and down the streets of Astoria, and to build community gardens, including Jacob Reese in Astoria Houses, and generally giving back the compost, sort of creating a loop where leaves from Western Queens Parks come to our compost site along with food scraps. We make compost and give that compost back into Queens to improve the soil. But we are currently being pushed off by Parks Department as they're looking to turn our space into parking and equipment storage for their site. Unfortunately, there's a lot of space underneath the Queensboro Bridge that Parks could be using, and we're hoping to get the community board support and asking parks to be a little bit more creative about where they decide they need to park and store their equipment. So we'd love to present to the land use or environmental committees, and then come back and present to the larger committee next month. So thanks. Thank you so much for your time. And I really appreciate all the time you guys put in to the community board. It's a lot of work. I can see that.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Kate Peterson,
2 minutes.
Rob,
2 minutes.
Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. I just want to start by saying that I appreciate all the work the community board puts into these issues and all the input from all our neighbors. I've lived in Astoria over 51 years, and I've witnessed a lot of changes happening in our neighborhood. I just want to say that most of these changes appear to be made by someone sitting at a desk looking at a map and just grabbing a highlighter and marking off streets and sections. A lot of these things are done with haste and without any input from the community, much like the truck traffic routes and the redirection of traffic, and of course, these bike lanes. I think I agree with Max Nazario when he says that there is an overabundance of automobiles in the neighborhood, but that's what happens when you live one bridge away from Manhattan and you're in a very popular neighborhood. And what I think we need to do is, since we're going to have these bikes and they're not going to go away anytime soon, and we're going to have this change in our neighborhood, I think we need to make the streets safer for both pedestrians, vehicles, and bicycles by registering and insuring these vehicles, these bicycles, and these scooters, because God forbid somebody gets hit by one of these things, you have no one to hold accountable. So we need to put registrations and plates and insurance on all these scooters and bicycles. And we need to send people for training, much like you have to do when you get a driver's license. People need to be responsible, and we have to share the road and share the cost.
10 seconds.
Good night, everybody. Thank you very much.
thank you. Motion to adjourn,
Second.
all in favor?
Sorry, I actually was
Sorry.
waiting to see.
Oh, I
And there's
called you
somebody-
before, Kate. And
I know, and I
was-
missed my button really quickly. So,
Okay,
and
go
there's
ahead.
also
Last
somebody else.
one.
There's a couple other people I think that we're still waiting. So
2 minutes.
actually, can I let somebody else that wanted to go first? Is that all right?
Go ahead. Why don't you do yours, Kate, and then.
Okay. So what I wanted to actually bring up today is that I was researching a little bit more about community boards, and I would really love to talk about what it would look like for community board one to have a sanitation committee. I realize that sanitation as a subject does come up on various committees, but there are several community boards across Queens that have a specific committee, or sanitation is named as a part of a committee as a subject. And so some of you know me because I've been doing work in the community for this last year, doing cleanups with a group called Proud Historian that I started. And there's a lot going on in sanitation right now, and specifically with the preliminary budgets coming out for 2022, I think that there's a very big need for advocacy on behalf of our community, and I would love that to be coming from the community board. So I wanted to bring that up today. I have like lots of other data points and reasons why I think it's great, but I'm going to just throw it out there like that. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Noosh?
2 minutes.
No. Anita?
2 minutes.
No. A motion to adjourn now, please.
Chair Billy Galaxy.
He's already spoke.
He already spoke.
2 minutes. How about that? Can I just follow up on something?
I'm sorry?
Hello? I wasn't given 2 minutes. Can I just follow up on something?
You weren't given 2 minutes previously,
I
or is
wasn't
this
given
a
2
different
minutes.
subject? I believe you were, but make it quick.
We timed it over here. It wasn't 2 minutes.
So you want to finish the 2 minutes?
wanna
Is it
follow
30
up.
seconds?
30
Need
seconds.
1 minute. I just need 1 minute. That's it.
Go ahead.
All
30
right.
seconds.
We have signed 7 petition letters. We have emailed Mayor de Blasio, Mike Gianaris, Costas. We have called DOT, and nobody got back to us for 43rd Street and 23rd Avenue. When my father double parks in front of my house, actually, I'm going to be double parking. We're going to have a risk factor when I have to bring him in the middle of the street, put him on the right-hand side of the passenger side, because he goes to numerous doctor's appointments. When all these tractor trailers and trucks coming down our block, it's going to severely injure either my father or the senior, or it's going to lead to a fatal accident. When that happens, who do we go after from a legal matter? That's all I have to say.
Thank you. All right, who made the first motion to adjourn? Please remake
I think
it.
my sound is working now.
Oh,
Can you guys hear me
okay.
now?
You are absolutely the last one. Noosh, can you
Okay,
hear us?
I just, yeah, I can hear you guys. I just wanted to bring
2
up
minutes.
one big issue. On 42nd Street on Astoria Boulevard, there's actually a towing company that's been a big nuisance in the area. They've been driving up and down the wrong way of one-way streets, actually hitting cars. My vehicle was hit 3 times by them, and they didn't, you know, own up to fault. And it's right by PS 84 where there are children crossing. And also the other concern I have is that they keep on parking their vehicles outside on the street overnight when they're supposed to be legally, you know, behind garages or, you know, fenced garages. I've called the 114th precinct. I've spoken to the community officers there. I've left messages there. I've left messages with 311. I've reported the place, and nobody's been doing anything to help this side of the area. I mean, this guy takes up like 4 or 5 blocks of just leaving cars that are abandoned, no license plates, empty box trucks,
1 minute.
boats, and trailers. And you know, I just don't know who else to say anything to.
Okay, Noosh, have you called the district office with this complaint?
I've called the district office. I've called the 114th precinct. I've been calling for 5 years straight. I've been voicing my complaints at 311. I've been reporting them every time they leave their abandoned cars outside, and nothing's being done. And then I've actually physically watched them with their tow trucks go up one-way streets by PS 84. And you know, there are children in that area, and you know,
30
you don't.
seconds.
It's a huge risk over there. And this guy, we've even gone up to him and spoken to him, and he says, "Oh, it's not my car," and he just walks away.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. We will try to follow up.
It's United Auto Body on 42nd Street and Astoria Boulevard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, motion to adjourn now, finally.
Tom Ryan.
Second?
Tom Ryan.
Oh, okay, thank you. See you in February. Have a nice January, everyone. Stay safe, wear a mask. Meeting adjourned.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.
Hi, everyone. Thank you guys so much for
There's gotta be some sort of stupid, bro. I cannot with you guys, bro. Y'all some sort of stupid.
God bless everybody.
Good night, everyone. It's safe.